How's it going, everybody? So I feel like I've said this a lot of times, but I just got back from the latest film from The Rock. This time around, it's Skyscraper. I swear, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is probably the hardest working person in Hollywood because he's always got a film or a TV show coming out. But, you know, I saw trailers for this back when I think that was the Super Bowl was the first time they showed the trailers for this, and I had some mild expectations. I expected some big, crazy, dumb fun. Even if it borrows a little bit too much from Die Hard and The Towering Inferno, that's the kind of vibes I got. But I figured, you know, dumb fun, it's The Rock. I mean, it can't be all bad. To start things off, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson once again pulls in another great performance. I mean, his charisma just alone pretty much carries any film he's in. And honestly, I think that if he wasn't in this movie, this film would have suffered a whole lot more. So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson plays a former FBI agent who was wounded during a mission. That's why he lost his leg. And now he's a security contractor, and he's the security contractor for the tallest skyscraper in China. And, you know, some terrorists come in, they take over the place, and his family's in the building. They all live in the skyscraper on the upper part. And he has to do everything he can to get in, you know, save his family from the terrorists at all costs. Both The Rock and Neve Campbell, actually, she's not talked about as much, but she should be, because she does a really great job in this. Both of them do a pretty good job with what they're given. I mean, I don't really buy them that much as a married couple. They just don't seem like they have a lot of chemistry, but they're both very good actors and actresses, and I like their whole family dynamic they have in the film, but I just didn't buy them as a married couple. But they do get some fun action scenes throughout the film, which makes it, you know, you kind of don't care about the family dynamic as much. I'm sure if you've seen any promotional material for Skyscraper, you've seen a lot of the crazy stunts that are going to go on in this film, and they are still fun and exhilarating, even if you do have to suspend your disbelief a lot due to the fact that The Rock is doing all this crazy fight scenes, action scenes, stunts, and all that with one leg. And apparently it's like the strongest prosthetic leg I've ever seen, because some of the stuff that the prosthetic leg goes through in this movie is pretty insane. But either way, if you suspend your disbelief, it doesn't really matter, I guess. I also feel like this film was sponsored in some way by duct tape, because there's a lot of references to duct tape, you know, a lot of funny quips and moments to do with duct tape. You'll see, if you see the film, you'll know what I mean, but there's a lot of references to duct tape in this film. Well, I don't know if it's like product placement, but it felt a little off to me. When they do get to the action in this film, and I do have to say when, because probably the first 35 minutes or so of the film doesn't really have any action at all. When they get to it, it is shot really well, and it is fun and exhilarating, even if you have seen a good portion of it in the promotional material. I mean, I like the outside shots they show of The Rock climbing along the building and doing all these crazy jumps and stunts and all that, but I wish there was more variety with the different things that he does, because there's really not a lot of variety in the different stunts and crazy stuff he does. He kind of just scales the walls half the time he's in the film. And every now and then he throws in a little bit of an action scene, but most of the action is him just jumping platforms to platforms and scaling walls. Maybe every now and then he'll, you know, swing on a rope or climb a rope or a ladder, but there really isn't that much variety, and it's not like exhilarating action as, like, say, like a Die Hard or even other Rock movies that are action-packed. Like, the action isn't as exciting as, like, a Fast and the Furious or one of them. I wish they had gone, like, a little bit higher up with the action, you know, raised the craziness a little bit more, but that's just my personal taste. Unlike with a film like Die Hard, the villains in this film are pretty generic. I mean, you don't even really get, like, a backstory or a reason why they're doing what they're doing until much later on in the film's runtime, which I felt was kind of weird that they just threw in, oh yeah, this is why they're doing, you know, blowing up the skyscraper and doing all this crazy stuff. And it's not like it's like a really good reason either once you find out what it is. But they really get no time to develop on screen. They barely even actually get any screen time. I mean, most of the screen time is dedicated to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and a little bit more Neve Campbell, but they don't really get any development at all. It just felt like very cut and paste bad guy from any generic action film. I don't know if you call this a plot hole or just like bad writing or whatever you want to call it, but I find it really weird that this entire skyscraper is like infrastructure, whether, you know, the systems that put out fires and all this stuff is controlled by like one tablet. Like, you think there'd be more than one tablet, you know, just to give to somebody. And it gets stolen really, you know, really early on. That's why the fire can't be put out. But I kind of wonder why he didn't just go after the chick with the tablet instead of going into the giant skyscraper and doing all this crazy stuff to save his family. Since if he just worked with the police to find that tablet, he could have easily just used the tablet to turn on all the sprinklers and all that and saved his family without having to go through all the crazy stunts in the film. But I guess if you do that, that would be a really short film. But that's just me. I mean, that was just one thing that kind of bugged me throughout the film. I had some fun with this film. It's just a big, dumb action film. I mean, nothing more, nothing less. It's not going to be in my bottom 10. It's not going to be anywhere near the top 10. It's definitely in the middle. It's definitely mid-tier, especially with the Rock movies. The Rock has put out much better action films even this year. But I think the only reason why this film is even watchable is due to The Rock and a little bit of Ned Campbell. I mean, if The Rock wasn't in this movie, I don't think this movie would have really been successful at all. I mean, this film will probably only be successful box office wise because he's in it, because he's such a huge box office draw. And you can tell this film's very clearly marketed towards the Chinese market anyways, since they have a really huge stake in the box office as it is. And this film's set in China with a lot of Asian actors. So, I mean, that's obviously like a very big draw to overseas. But either way, I mean, I wouldn't say run out and see this immediately. I definitely think you should watch this eventually. I don't know if you need to go out and run and see it immediately, though. It's an okay film. The Rock's put out better movies. He's put out worse movies. But if you want some just dumb action scenes with The Rock in it, go ahead and check this out. But those are just my thoughts about Skyscraper. You know, feel free to leave in the comments down below. Are you excited for Skyscraper? Are you not excited for Skyscraper? If you've seen a Skyscraper, let me know what you thought of it. Also, feel free to leave a like, hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all my movie reviews, trailer reactions, unboxings, and more. Until then, I will see you guys later.